Part 1. Two Navy officials 9 years apart reveal how the Navy contaminated Treasure Island with radiation, chemicals, and heavy metals, and describe their unsuccessful 30-year attempt to clean it all up. I'm Carol Harvey, San Francisco investigative reporter. It's September 2023. 9 years ago on Saturday, November 8, 2014, I videoed a Navy van tour introduced at Treasure Island Shipshape Community Center between Avenue I and Avenue M at 11th Street by Keith Forman, Navy Environmental Coordinator, Naval Station Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay, in a room with walls so blindingly yellow that it made one hopeful that brilliant light would be shed on the subject. Follow this toxic tour through several numbered parts. During Keith Forman's hour-and-a-half van tour, he took us to sites around the island at large and in the community, and named specific toxins buried in specific places in the soil and groundwater by 56 years of activity when the Navy held the island as a base. When investigative reporters Catherine Muskowski and Matt Smith tested soil samples they dug out of Treasure Island that yielded radioactive cesium-137, the Navy organized tours as damage control to soothe reasonable fears of alarmed island residents who had learned their island home was radioactive, endangering their lives and the lives of their children. This is a photo of Matt Smith, Center for Investigative Reporting, alarming residents by digging toxins out of Treasure Island soil. If you ever doubted Treasure Island is actually toxic, you will see and hear for yourself as you take this tour. An official from the U.S. Navy named the virulent toxins the Navy dumped into Treasure Island soil and groundwater radiation, chemicals, and the heavy metals lead and arsenic, and take you to precise locations on the island where the Navy dumped these toxins. Keith Forman, former Naval Station Treasure Island Environmental Coordinator, introduces the Navy tour to community members.
I'd love it if you could tell me a few things about the tour at the end. What you personally think could be better, what you liked about it, and then how you heard about the tour. How you heard about the tour helps us because we're always looking for different ways in this electronic age to outreach people, to get more people involved in our bus tour. We have a great turnout for our very first ever bus tour. But we're always looking for more to reach out to more people in the future when we do this. We read every one of these. Tommy, Jean, and I will read every one of these. And quite frankly, it's better for me if you're critical of the tour a bit and give me some pointers on what to do next time than just say, hi, great tour. Because anything lends itself to improvement, especially when you're doing something for the first time. And keeping that in mind, I know I tend to speak a little fast, so I'll try not to speak too fast, but I've got a lot to tell you on our tour today. So when we get on the bus, there's a bathroom in the back of the bus, but I would encourage you there's bathrooms here, use those if you need to before we get on the bus. We're going to be going on a tour. One of your handouts shows you the stops we're going to make. We're only going to get off the bus, and you only get off the bus if you want to get off the bus, of course, right here around Clipper Cove, Site 27. In this area. And that's one of the things I want feedback from you on. There are bus tours that we do on bases like Hunters Point where we don't get off the bus. We do a very thorough tour, but we never leave the bus. And people generally like that. There are other tours such as Alameda, which consists mostly of getting off the bus. But that's a whole different crowd, a whole different set of needs, and they've evolved to that. And then there's us. We're only getting off the bus one time. But let me know about that. You know, there's certain things involved that you'll see in that, in getting off the bus and the time it takes to do that, and to gather around, and then we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll get back on the bus, and that's kind of time consuming. But I would love to hear everybody's opinion on that and what you would want to see in the future. Okay, given that, a couple things. This is not a highly technical tour. It's not meant to be. Our bus tours, I will weave in the history of what I know of the history, what's gone on, where the Navy's at in the program, and I'll talk a little bit about the contaminants and some of the things we've done. But there's always this mix between the techie stuff and the non-techie, but hopefully interesting stuff. And you can help me on that too, what you think the mix should be. And that varies from base to base as well, and has over time. But there'll be a little bit of both each time. I want to introduce some people before we get on the bus. First of all, there's Director Bob Beck from Treasure Island Development Authority. Thank you for being here. There's Patricia McFadden. She is the base coordinator in charge of the caretaker site office.
And continues in this position in 2023.
She caretakes for all the Navy closed bases in the Bay Area. Huge job. But she resides in Building 1 at Treasure Island. And I think she takes excellent care of the Treasure Island Navy team and does 1,001 things for us and works with Bob. And anyway, I want to thank you because I think you do a tremendous job. And then there's Medi Sunga. Medi is a regulator. She regulates the Navy, and she's also there for you, the public, to talk to. And she represents the state of California, specifically the Department of Toxic Substances Control, which is a long agency name. Basically, it's an arm of what I think of as California EPA. It's the state EPA. And then there's Miriam Zek. She is the representative from the Regional Water Quality Control Board. And one thing we're going to talk about a little bit, Treasure Island has contaminants left over from the many, many years the Navy was here. It has contaminants in the soil, but it also has contaminants in the groundwater. And Miriam plays a major role in that. And we also have one site that we're going to talk about, Clipper Cove, that's out in the bay a little bit. And she has a major role in that as well.
Right, it's not just the groundwater, it's also the bay.
Yes. So thank you again for being here, and all of you for taking a little part of your Saturday weekend with beautiful weather to spend it with me and the Navy team on a bus. I really appreciate that, and it means a lot to us that you come out for something like this. And I'm striving to make it worth your while. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jessica Andrupon, representing Supervisor Jane Kim's office. Treasure Island, we were going as in District 6, and so we're very happy to be here on this tour and learn what we can about its home.
Thank you, Jessica, also for being here. Alice Pirro. Alice is the community co-chair for the Treasure Island Restoration Advisory Board. Restoration Advisory Board is just another big Navy term for it. This is the board that involves the community, and we have board meetings every other month, and she is the co-chair along. I'm the Navy co-chair, she's the community co-chair at these meetings. And again, you're welcome to come to them if you have the time. The next one is, I believe, December 9th. December 9th. I'll show you where they're held. They're held at a place called Casa de la Vista in the conference room there, and you're welcome to join us at 7 p.m. on December 9th if you want to start and see a RAD meeting or even want to join. Okay? All right, so any other questions?
Well, we're ready to load whenever.
Yeah, are you ready to go on the bus?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Please proceed to parts 2 and 3. The van drives down Avenue M to radioactive Site 6.